What's up, New York? This is Gia Peppers. We are so excited to present the 2017 Voter Guide, brought to you by NYC Votes and the New York City Campaign Finance Board. The general election will be held Tuesday, November 7th. Our goal is to empower you, the voter, to make informed choices when you go to the polls. This program gives you the opportunity to see which candidates will make a difference on the issues you care about. We can't always control what happens nationally, but with our vote, we can definitely have a say about what happens in our neighborhoods and in our city. Local elections can determine everything from the quality of schools to the cost of living. Before you cast a ballot, don't you want to know more about the candidates and how city government can impact your life? In a moment, we are going to introduce the candidates running for mayor, public advocate, and comptroller. But first, let's find out more about the issues that you and your neighbors care about.
So one concern that I do have is higher education. The reason for this is because we do know that free tuition is going to be here in New York, but it doesn't take into consideration the families and students who can't be full-time students. You have a lot of families who have to be part-time because they have to work to, help their families out, and it also doesn't take into consideration undocumented immigrants, the ones who pay $11.64 billion in taxes. So it makes no sense to basically cut off all these people who are contributing to our economy.
Gosh, I think that number one, continuing to make New York City and ensure New York City is a diverse place. So that means in every sense of the word, including economic diversity. So it's important that there is affordable housing for people, that there are services for low-income people, that we continue to make the train system affordable and efficient. So there's lots of issues around diversity, I think, that are really important for the government to play an active role in ensuring and protecting.
As a New Yorker, you're a young New Yorker, but you still have issues and concerns that you would like to see change. So what would you like to see change in your community?
I would definitely like to see the growth of small businesses to help benefit the local economy, make affordable housing accessible to everyone who needs it. And also, I'd like to see politicians go out and get people in the community more engaged and ask them what they want so they can better serve the community.
Well, for me personally, I think it's important to vote in every election. I have not missed an election, and I think voting is a right that New Yorkers have and that we need to use to effectuate change. As a former prosecutor, I had to work with police officers all the time. And we all know, just like any profession, you have good police officers and you have police officers who do some things wrong. But I would love to see the community come together and work with the police so that we can have a cohesive society.
As we think about these storefronts, that we're really considering our small businesses and investing in ways that will ensure a thriving small business environment in our Upper East Side. It's very important to me from the perspective of, again, the benefits it adds to our tax base, as well as the benefits it provides to someone like me who wants to get out of his house and wants to enjoy a Saturday or Sunday afternoon at a local coffee shop or a local restaurant. And so I think it's extremely important that the city focus on the city and our statewide government focus on legislation and policy initiatives that are really going to ensure that our small businesses can thrive in New York City.
One of the issues that are really affecting me is affordable housing and the lack thereof, really. There's so many communities have been displaced, people who have lived in these communities for generations who can no longer afford to live there. And the proximity that they had to businesses and to community resources, they no longer have. And many people are even in shelters because they've been displaced because of the high cost of rent. And so that's a huge issue. There's been a lot of talk about it. But it's important to vote to make sure that the politicians know that we're paying attention and that we want to see that affordable housing is actually being done.
Voting in local elections is one of the most powerful ways we can embrace the opportunity to participate and show we care about our city's future. As the elected leader of the city government, the mayor impacts the day-to-day lives of New Yorkers by creating the city budget and setting city laws and policies. Here are the candidates running for mayor.
Hi, I'm Sal Albanese and I'm running for mayor. I came to this country as an immigrant at the age of 8. I've lived the rest of my life in New York City, in Park Slope and Bay Ridge to be exact. And I believe that it's still the greatest city in the world. I'm a product of the New York City Public Schools. I spent 11 years as a public school teacher, 15 years as a legislator, and I'm a lawyer with a finance background. I'm running because major issues are facing New York City and its future and are not being addressed. One of the biggest problems we're facing is that pay-to-play is out of control. We have a political system based on legal graft where big real estate and lobbyists are really the ones in control. That's why I'm not accepting contributions from developers or lobbyists. I have a plan called Democracy Vouchers, which Seattle implemented. It will enhance our democracy and help to start to get us out from under the undue influence of a self-interested political class. We are in need of affordable housing, but what's being offered is far from affordable for most New Yorkers. There's been an erosion of neighborhood character by unfettered development. The reason for all of this is that big real estate is firmly in control. Let's pass my plan to tax foreign real estate investors who warehouse luxury properties and use that money to help create an affordable housing fund. I believe that we need to fight for mayoral control of the MTA, and the city needs to triple its financial contribution to $1 billion. As mayor, I will work with whoever the governor may be to upgrade our subway signal system, which is failing nearly daily, and to modernize our transit system as soon as possible. I pledge to continue to use mass transit on a regular basis. I'm promising to make our city a model democracy for others to emulate, and to be the kind of mayor who works at the job every day and pays attention to the needs of all New Yorkers.
In any position of civil servantry, our candidates must be able to articulate what it is in detail they will do for you. I want to serve the people of the city of New York in ways that best fit us all, unbiased and without compromise. You know me as the people's advocate. Every problem in New York has an inherent theme, and that problem is New York's stance on allowing the Department of Justice to have a hand in our every aspect of living. You can't arrest your way out of the community issues. I won't be afraid of the orange man in office when it comes to not deporting our people, and I won't allow New Yorkers' hard-earned dollars to be mismanaged. We must be different in our approach, quicker in our decisions, and more aware on what accountability really looks like. I'm Akeem Browder with the Green Party. Vote for me on Election Day.
What does it take to make a good mayor? I think it takes someone who is truly committed to putting the people first and fighting for everyday New Yorkers. That's why I'm running for mayor, because I am a regular New Yorker who knows firsthand the concerns, struggles, and hopes of regular New Yorkers. I'm not a slick, super connected politician trying to wheel and deal my way back into City Hall. I'm not a mega millionaire trying to buy an election. I'm a regular, hardworking New Yorker. I'm one of the people, and I'm fighting for the people of New York. I want to provide real, long-term solutions to the problems New York is facing. I want to revamp our educational system so that our kids graduate high school with the skills, knowledge, and confidence to be employers instead of struggling to find low-wage work in retail or fast food. I want to overhaul the criminal justice system so that we aren't needlessly punishing people and destroying our most vulnerable communities. I'm fighting against intrusive laws that make the police and public enemies of each other. I want to get rid of horrible policies like sin taxes so that we don't create more Eric Garners. As hardworking New Yorkers, we know all too well the daily struggle of trying to make ends meet and trying to provide the things our families need and the things that our loved ones want. That's why I'm not fighting for 15. I'm fighting for so much more. It's not enough to fight for minimum wage. We need to fight for economic policies that provide a path out of poverty. That's why I'm standing with the people of New York and why I'm asking you to support me as the next mayor of New York City.
Hi, I'm Mayor Bill de Blasio. All across America, big money from special interests is dominating our democracy like never before. Money from big corporations pours into our elections, often in secret, and that affects who runs for office and what they do once they get there. But in New York City, we do things a better way. Our public finance system is a national model that makes sure our democracy remains open for all. Because here in New York, we know that our strength lies in our diversity, and that everyone should have a say in how their city is run. It means you don't have to be rich or know a lot of rich people to run for office. Now, I should know, without the public financing system, I never would have been elected mayor 4 years ago. And I might never have even run for city council years before that in Brooklyn. And look what we've been able to accomplish in such a short period of time. Pre-K for all 4-year-olds, crime at historic lows, and affordable housing being built at a record pace. We've expanded our paid sick leave law to cover hundreds of thousands more workers and are raising the minimum wage for tens of thousands more. So this election day, I'm asking for your vote so we can continue our work to build a better democracy and a better city for all. Thank you.
I'm running for mayor because this city can do much better. I've spent my entire life in public service, and I bring leadership and integrity to the table, qualities that are severely lacking among de Blasio and his bureaucrats. We've recently seen de Blasio narrowly escape felony corruption charges, while many of his commissioners were forced to resign due to dangerous mismanagement. I have a different style. I speak both to Democrats and Republicans, and my vision is socially inclusive but fiscally conservative. Curbing wasteful spending and creating jobs are at the center of my plans. Instead of driving businesses away with high taxes, we will incentivize the best and brightest startup companies to move to underserved neighborhoods and create great jobs for our people. Our infrastructure is aging poorly. I'll work with Albany and Washington, because I can, to improve it. I'll use vacant city properties and build homeless rehabilitation centers instead of paying for fancy hotels. Instead of spending $10 billion to build new jails in your neighborhood, let's overhaul the Department of Correction and fix Rikers Island. We'll use our police department. It's the best in the world to make sure another innocent child doesn't die at the hands of ACS. I'm running for mayor with a broad coalition of support to clean up this city. As the 110th mayor of New York, I will bring fiscally conservative and socially inclusive leadership to City Hall and govern for all New Yorkers, and you could trust me. Thank you.
I'm Assemblywoman Nicole Malliotakis, and I need your vote to bring accountability and common sense back to New York City government. Over the last 4 years, New York City has become ungovernable. A record-high $85 billion budget spends lots of your hard-earned tax dollars without results. We have an epic homeless crisis, our subways are a disaster, our roads are congested, our education system has too many failing schools, and our city is struggling with a heroin epidemic. Crimes like rape, sexual assault, and human trafficking are up, and gun violence is becoming all too common. Public urination, sleeping in doorways, and panhandling are now norms. Our quality of life is completely deteriorated. With so much bad news, you may wonder if your vote can turn things around. The answer is yes. As an Assembly member, I have stood up against the status quo, voted against tax increases over 300 times. I took on the MTA to restore bus service to my district, sued the Port Authority to bring transparency to toll payers, fought to strip pensions from elected officials convicted of crimes, and helped thousands of constituents return their lives to normalcy following Hurricane Sandy. It has been my honor to be a strong voice for those I represent. If you elect me mayor, I will be a strong leader who will invest in our infrastructure and public transportation system, provide our children with a quality education, create good-paying jobs, ensure our public housing structures are kept in good repair, and return common sense to City Hall. We can do all this while holding the line on taxes and spending by eliminating bureaucracy and government waste. I will restore the quality of life for New York City residents that has fallen by the wayside under Mayor Bill de Blasio. On Election Day, please vote for me, Nicole Malliotakis, as your mayor of New York City.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm a proud New Yorker. I'm running for mayor because we face unprecedented challenges, and we need big ideas and bold action now more than ever to modernize our government, grow our economy, and most important, help you earn the income you and your family need to live a happy and balanced life. I'm a tech entrepreneur and innovator. I solve problems for a living, which got me thinking, what if we applied the principles of innovation and design to City Hall? What if we upgraded our government to be as friendly as Disney, as simple as Apple, as data-driven as Google, as open and connected as Facebook, as efficient as Amazon? And for good measure, what if we added some good old New York grit? The result is a smarter city that's redesigned from the ground up around you. Smarter support and protections for small businesses. Smarter investments in new industries to create new job opportunities. Smarter infrastructure, like subways that run regularly and on time. Smarter street cleaning services that use new garbage collection equipment. Smarter education that prepares your kids for future jobs. Smarter health programs that reduce costs through preventative care. Smarter everything. So what does this all mean for you? Your city will be more accessible and affordable. It will be cleaner. It will be a healthier and more comfortable place to live. You'll spend less time stressing about how you're going to pay for your rent this month, less time worrying about whether your child is safe at school, less time working in a job you don't like, and more time doing the things you enjoy with the people you love. It's a new day. We have our work cut out for us, but together we'll get back on track and build a new form of government that works for you. Please follow us on social and visit our website to share your voice and join our movement.
Your vote is powerful. When you go to the polls on November 7th to vote for your next city officials, you'll also be voting on 3 important ballot proposals. This is your chance to make a real difference. Find out more about the proposals in the voter guide and on our website before you decide to vote yes or no this November. Voting is how you can help build a city that works for everyone. As the people's representative in government, the public advocate is responsible for making sure that everyday New Yorkers are heard. He or she can make recommendations for how the city can better serve New Yorkers and is also responsible for stepping into the office of mayor if the mayor is unable to perform his or her duties. Here are the candidates running to be your next public advocate. Take a look.
Hi, New York. My name is Devin Balkind, and I'm running for public advocate because I want to be the politician in your pocket. My goal as public advocate will be to distribute the power of the politicians to every New Yorker. And we're doing this through New York Speaks, a combination smartphone app, live stream channel, and public event series that allow you, the people of New York, to work together to solve our city's problems. Our campaign is putting together New York Speaks now, before I'm elected, because we believe in action, and I want to show you the type of results you can expect when I'm public advocate. I'll put real results and real control in your pocket every day. You can download the first version of our smartphone app at votedevin.com. And as you play with it, remember, we did this with 0.1% of the current public advocate's budget. Imagine what we could do if we had the full thing. My campaign isn't about individual issues. It's about building a process that puts New Yorkers where they should be, in control. This is precisely what I believe the job of the public advocate is. New Yorkers are smart and determined people who know how to solve problems better than the politicians. So let's show the politicians who's boss. Let's put the public in charge of the office of the public advocate. Thank you.
Hello, I'm New York City Public Advocate Letitia James. 4 years ago, I set out to distinguish the Public Advocate's office as a vehicle for justice for all New Yorkers, with a focus on economic and social justice. In my time in office, we've accomplished a great amount, from my groundbreaking legislation to ban questions about salary history and job interviews, because I believe equal pay for equal work, and bringing us one step closer to closing the wage gap, to securing universal school lunch for every child in middle school, bringing a nutritious meal to over 10,000 children every day, and removing the stigma of poverty, to expanding the worst landlords list as a tool and resource for tenants and advocates. If you give me the opportunity to serve for another 4 years, I will continue working to ensure that every child has the opportunity for a better future, and that every family has the chance not just to survive, but to thrive, and that every New Yorker has access to the possibility that our great city has to offer. Thank you, and God bless you.
My name is J.C. Polanco, and I'm a candidate for public advocate. I'm a lifelong New Yorker, a dad, an attorney, the New York City Regional Director for the State Assembly Minority, and a former commissioner at the New York City Board of Elections, where I worked to reform that beleaguered agency. I'm also an educator who has spent the last 17 years teaching in the New York City public school system and now at CUNY. I have dedicated my entire career to public service. I'm running because I love New York City. I want to be your next public advocate because I want to continue serving your families. I believe that the public advocate should be your watchdog over city government and your voice to fix things that are wrong. As an educator, I know how much a quality education means for our kids. It pains me to know that there are over 100,000 children waiting in line for an opportunity to attend a charter school. I will work to expand charter school enrollment and give parents more options over where to send their kids to school. I'll fight for education tax credits for those of you who decide to put your children in parochial and private schools. Because I'm focused on protecting our most vulnerable, I believe that the next public advocate must fight against mismanagement at the city's Administration for Children's Services, ACS, where children under this agency's care continue to be victims of abuse and death. I will appoint a public advocate for children's affairs to ensure not one more child dies. I'll bring common sense to City Hall, which seems more interested in closing Rikers than in protecting our neighborhoods. I'll fight any plan that calls for putting jails in our backyards, because the last thing I want our kids to see on their way to school is a jail. Lastly, homeownership continues to be out of reach for generations of families living in NYCHA housing. I will work to give these hardworking residents a chance at owning their units. It's time for more New Yorkers to have their shot at the American dream. Thank you for listening, and please visit my website, polancofornyc.com, for more information on my campaign. And please remember that no matter who you plan on supporting on Election Day, come out and make your voices heard. Vote.
Hi everyone, I am here with Onita Coward Mayers, who is the Director of Voter Assistance for the NYC Campaign Finance Board and the brains, the creative genius behind the video voter guide. Now, thank you so much for coming up with this incredible video that will help all New Yorkers, but why did you feel so impassioned to start it and make sure that everyone saw this?
Thank you, Gia. And that was very flattering of you. I should say, though, I was part of a team, and we were very excited to make sure that we brought a new vehicle for all New Yorkers and for voters to find out more information about the candidates who were seeking to represent them. This was an added value. It was something that you could turn on at home, or something you could go on the computer and watch, and then as the years evolved, you could go onto your smartphone device and just look at those candidates and see what their values were, and to see which ones really spoke to the issues that New Yorkers cared most about.
So for people who may be intimidated or not really into politics and they're kind of thinking of sitting this local election out as well, what do you say to them to kind of get them to vote and understand the importance of, again, voting this time around?
Well, there are a couple of different things. One, voting is easy. Registering to vote is very easy. That's part of what we do with NYC Votes. We have various platforms to help you. Not only do we produce this TV show, but we also do an online guide so you can see it on the go. We also produce print guides that come into each of everyone's home who is a registered voter. And registering to vote is a very short process. We do that for you. Also, you can go on to voting.nyc to find out how you register to vote. But really, why you should vote is because you are very important in New York, and New York cannot exist or move forward without each of the individuals. And in order for it to move forward, we need to know what you think. And candidates, I say time and time again, candidates and elected officials, they're here to work for us. And we need to know that our vote counts and that it matters, and that you should be well informed, and make sure you put who you want in there. And if they're not doing the job that you're looking for, you have another chance again to get them out and put in the right person. So you never stop, because you control your destiny, not candidates, not elected officials.
I love that. Power to the people, power to information and knowledge. Voting in local elections has an impact on issues you care about most, from jobs to schools to the cost of living. The Comptroller monitors the city's finances so that taxpayer dollars are used effectively to serve all New Yorkers in these and other areas. Here are the candidates for Comptroller.
Hi, I'm Michael Faulkner, and I'm running to become the next Comptroller for the City of New York. I fell in love with New York City during a brief stint with the New York Jets. And I came back to New York in 1988 to run a soup kitchen in Times Square. I love New York, and that's why I'm running to be New York's fiscal watchdog. We've all noticed homelessness and the quality of life crimes are up. New York City's budget has doubled in the past 20 years, going from $42 billion to $85 billion. That is an unsustainable rate of growth. Property taxes are reaching levels forcing out middle-class families and mom-and-pop businesses to close. The Comptroller's job is to ensure that the tax dollars and government spending are done in an efficient and effective manner, free of political corruption. Scott Stringer has not been tough enough on Bill de Blasio or himself. With my decades of service to New York, I know I can do a better job, both for the people who pay taxes and for those receiving government services. New York City can and must get back on track, but to do that, we have to have principled leadership. As a respected religious leader in New York City for more than 30 years, I have the unique ability to connect with all New Yorkers, regardless of their political affiliation, ethnic background, religious or sexual orientation. And because New York City's most entrenched problems are permeated throughout the entire community, having a comptroller that can have straight talk is critical for bringing fundamental change. Please vote for Michael Faulkner on Election Day. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Alex Merced, and I'm the Libertarian Party candidate for New York City Comptroller. My goal is to protect the tax dollars of hardworking New Yorkers and the pension dollars of New York City workers. As Comptroller, my job is to audit the policies the Mayor and City Council put forth to make sure that taxpayer money is spent in good faith and identify ways to improve these policies and their outcomes. As Comptroller, I would also be responsible for advising on the management of the pension funds of New York City, in which I would use my experience in the financial industry to guide me in protecting the retirements of New York City workers and protect taxpayers from unforeseen catch-up payments. Consider me, Alex Merced, to be the next Comptroller of New York City, because it's your taxes, it's your pension, it's your life.
New York is the greatest city in the world, but it's not always the easiest place to call home. I'm Comptroller Scott Stringer, and we've got to do more to make sure working families can afford to live here. And that means focusing on housing costs and the quality of our public schools, and creating more good-paying jobs. That's why, as Comptroller, I've helped lead the fight for 15, to make the minimum wage a living wage. And it's why I've worked to identify more than 1,000 vacant lots owned by the city, vacant lots that we can turn into affordable housing so more families can afford to stay here. But we've also got to make it easier for people to live in New York, which means investing in our subways and buses again, and ending the annoying delays which seem to get worse by the day. It means expanding access to childcare, and it means making sure every child in every zip code has great public schools. As a father of 2 young boys, that's something that's even more important to me today. Something else that's also very important to me, and has been throughout my career, is the fight for reform. As manager of the city's pension funds, I've tried to make sure New York takes the lead on reform and ethics, whether it's demanding greater diversity in corporate boardrooms or forcing action on important social issues, from climate change to private prisons. And through aggressive audits and investigations with the help of an incredibly dedicated and talented staff, I've worked hard to keep city government accountable and get results. On November 7th, I hope you'll give me the chance to continue as your Comptroller, so that together we can work to make New York stronger and a place all of us can afford to call home.
My business card says Julia Willebrand, activist, and if elected, I will be an activist Comptroller. Many voters think of the comptroller as head bookkeeper, but the comptroller wears many more hats than that. The comptroller is trustee of the $175 million New York City Public Pension Fund. Since 2007, that fund has earned $2.5 billion. Unfortunately, the city paid most of that $2.5 billion to consultants in fees. I will end this practice. A huge city agency is fully capable of managing a pension fund. Additionally, the city will assist in ameliorating climate change danger by divesting from corporations producing or distributing fossil fuels. The Comptroller's Office registers 38,000 contracts every year with little protection for overcharges. I will require that all contracts include clawback and penalty clauses to protect the city's bottom line. Using Comptroller oversight, I will ensure that the public knows about wasteful giveaways, such as the offer of public playgrounds for luxury housing development. These boondoggles create little affordable housing, yet there is plenty of unused airspace in our high-rise city. And much of this airspace belongs to the city, so to construct affordable housing, I will promote using the air rights over New York City's 1,700 public schools as the sites for new affordable housing. Thus, I will be an activist comptroller.
Voting in local elections is how we can all make a difference on the issues that matter to our communities. And it helps us to make this city a better place to live and work. I'm proud to be a New Yorker, aren't you? Your vote makes a difference. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to vote in the general election on November 7th. NYC Votes is the voter engagement initiative of the NYC Campaign Finance Board. The Voter Guide is a nonpartisan resource produced by the CFB that provides New York City voters with information about candidates for local office. If you are a registered voter, you will receive the guide in the mail, and you can find it online at voting.nyc. All candidates for mayor, public advocate, comptroller, borough president, and city council were given the opportunity to record statements for this video guide. Candidates who chose not to record a statement will be listed on screen. In a few instances, candidates who appear here may have been removed from the ballot. You can check voting.nyc anytime for the latest up-to-date information. The candidate statements are their own, and all candidates have affirmed that their statements are true to the best of their knowledge. The CFB does not endorse any candidate for public office, and the views expressed in these candidate statements do not represent those of the CFB.